Magyar szólások és közmondások angolul beszélőknek.
Hungarian sayings and proverbs for English speakers. Life, death, change.
Meghalt a barát, él a szent, változik az apátúrság.
Okay, this is quite a long one, and not all the words are going to be terribly useful, but never mind. You've probably heard of barát before, and you probably think it means friend. Well, it does, but not in this case. Here it means a monk or a friar. When it comes to friars, there's also the grey friar. In Hungarian, this is a cherry barát. There's also a literal translation, szürke barát, which is another name for a grey friar in Hungarian, and this is also, as it happens, the name of a grape variety, known here in New Zealand as a Pinot gris, and it comes from Burgundy. Szent. Not quite how it is in English. Szent means saint. Apátúrság or apátúrság means a monastery, and a monastery is ruled by a apátúr or apát, a abbot. So there's two words for there. The shorter version is more common these days. Meghalt means died. Al means live, in the sense of exist or be alive. There's another word for live that you'll often come across in Hungarian, and that's lakik. That means more to dwell. Where do you live? Hol lakik. Változik means change. So, taking it word by word, died the monk, lives the saint, change the monastery. Or, as we're more likely to say it in English, friars die, saints live, monasteries change. And you'll notice I've actually changed it into a plural and taken out the article. In English, we don't generally have an article with a general noun, and we often have it in plural. In Hungarian, it's the other way around. A general noun always starts with a definite article, o or os, and usually in the singular. So what does this mean? Everything changes. Looking at vocab, you may think I'm going to go with some sort of religious vocab, but let's make it something that's a bit more useful. Life events. Your first event is you're born. Szűletés. A woman who is pregnant is either terhes or várandós. Some people don't like the word terhes because it also means burdensome or hard. It can be used, though, as an adjective to mean somebody who is pregnant or a pregnant woman. Várandós is interesting in that this has actually got a future participle in it. Andó is a future participle, and in Hungarian it isn't just a matter of being future, but something that is almost certainly going to happen. Házasság is marriage, and before marriage you have a wedding. Esküvő. You may have come across the verb that this comes from, which is esküzik, which is to swear or take an oath. If you know the famous national poem by Petöfi, you'll hear the line where we swear we will never be slaves.
A magyarok istenére esküszünk. Esküszünk, hogy rabok tovább nem leszünk.
Halál is death. One more. Válás means divorce. So let's take a look at these nouns and explore what we can come up with. So szűletés comes from the verb szül, to give birth or to beget, that is, to be the father of. So in Hungarian, the same word is used to be the mother of a child or the father of a child. If you add an "-és on it, as we learnt in together, it creates an abstract action. And this noun is childbirth. Szülés, childbirth. But if we add an "sz" instead, so szülész, not szülés, we get obstetrician. And we've seen this creation of an occupation in cruel to be kind. If you add "nő" on it, in this case it's not a female obstetrician but a midwife. If we take the word for obstetrician, szülész, and add an "et", we get the general action associated with the noun. Szülészet is obstetrics, or it could also mean a maternity hospital. Születésnap is your birthday. Születik is quite an unusual example in Hungarian, where it's a rare example with a passive suffix. So szül is to give birth, but születik is to be born. Next we want to look at házasság, which is marriage. Your root for this is the word ház, which is house or home. Haza is also related to ház. It means your native land or homeland. So háza is your house, haza is your homeland. And hazajön means to come or return home. Adding an "as" turns it into an adjective. Házas means to be married. It can also mean a married couple. Házasodik is to get married. This odik is a reflexive ending, and you'll see it in lots of different verbs. Odik, kodik, ozik, kozik. The chances of having either a D or a Z in it is about even, and it's one thing that I keep tripping up on in my vocabulary practice. And if you don't get married, you remain single. Taking our word házasság, which is the noun, adding an I, we get the adjective, matrimonial. So a házassági évforduló is your wedding anniversary. Halál comes from the verb hol, to die. Hol also means fish, but in this case it means die. Completely different word, different root. Halál os is taking the halal, which is the noun, and making it into an adjective, so it's deadly or fatal. Adding an an turns it into an adverb. Haláson, mortally or fatally. Here's a fun one. Hol hotolan. So hol is your dead, hot, whether or not it is possible, and the otlan makes it not possible. So dead, able to be, not possible, i.e. immortal. And as we learnt in Best Cooks, we have that ság ending, and we make that into immortality. So we have a verb, we have an affix, to be able to die, and then we turn that into a negative adjective by adding the otlan, and then we add a ság, and we've got ourselves another noun. Isn't Hungarian fun? Halott means to be dead, and this is a standard past participle, and it also means a dead body. There is an alternative to halott, and that's halt. One thing that Hungarian does is it can modify an adjective. So if you've got halottok or holtok, that is more than one dead body. That is that dead in general. There's many more words for dead. I have got a student dictionary which says how common a word is. The idea is you're meant to be looking at the words that are most common, but it also gives you the definitions for ones that aren't. Halott is the most common word. It's got 5 stars. That's as far as it goes up to. And it comes from Hal, as we said, and Hal is traced back to the Uralic language. So that's about 3000 BCE, 5,000 years ago. Halt is less common, only gets 4 stars, and obviously it's the same age. Elhunt is also a 4-star word, and it comes from the verb hun, and that also goes back to Uralic. So those 3 words are really, really old. The roots of them go back to at least 5,000 years. All those words are only used for people. You use different words for animals. For example, döglöd, which is used for animals, and it comes from döglik, and that's an animal is dead. And it only gets 3 stars, so it's not very common. Kimult is even less common. It gets 1 star. Some dictionaries don't even have it. And this comes from Mulik, and that's a wee bit more recent. That tracks back to Finno-Uralic, which is about 2000 BCE. So it's only 4,000 years old. El Pusult is to be dead, or also means to be destroyed. It can apply to an animal or plant. It's 5 stars. Very common word, and it comes from the word pusta, which is a Slav word. And you may know that some people call the althird the pusta. And I didn't actually realise why some people object again to calling althird the pusta, and that's because it actually is a slightly negative word. It's something that's destroyed. And it's not just, this is due to the incursions of the Ottomans way back when. Next one, have a looking at Válás. It comes from válik, which means to divorce. When you divorce someone, it takes töl. Feleségé wife, felesége his wife, feleségé töl from his wife. So he is divorcing his wife. Elválik, which is obviously quite close. It means also to part, separate, divide, and divorce. The adjective comes from the longer form of the verb. Elvárt is divorced. Elválás is parting or divorce. So you can see the connection between elválás and válás.
Meghalt a barát, él a szent, változik az apátúrság.
Everything changes. Change is one constant in life, along with, of course, your vocab drills. I hope you're still keen on learning more. If you want to encourage me, don't forget a like or a comment, so I keep on making these videos and sharing what I know about Hungarian vocab and grammar.